Hi, I'm Allain. I'm 23 and fond of traveling. My father works for a tourist company. That's why since early childhood I have visited plenty of countries and seen lots of incredible places. Once I watched a film which showed a man who traveled the world by hitchhiking. The idea was so inspiring that I decided to repeat the experience of that man and travel across the United States. It was interesting, but I also understood that it was dangerous. My parents were strongly against it because they worried that something bad could happen to me. However, my motivation was too strong, and there was hardly a person who could stop me. I packed my stuff, took all the money I had, and left home. I bought a ticket to the neighboring town and set off. The neighboring town was known as a place where truck drivers often stopped on their way to other states. So I thought it would be a great place to begin with. I came to a bar for truck drivers and looked around trying to find someone who could take me on the road. I asked a waitress who was the kindest man among the truckers, and she pointed to Winnie, a big guy with long curly hair. I sat down next to him and asked where he was going. He gave me a strict look. I wondered why everyone considered him a kind man. He kept silence for a couple of minutes, then said, "Sorry, I just need to eat this burger." I smiled at him. He was polite and his voice was very pleasant. We started talking and soon I learned that nearly half of my route coincided with his one and that he would be happy to take me with him. Our trip was amazing. Winnie liked recording funny videos and told me lots of interesting road trip stories. He bought ice cream for me in each cafe and we laughed all the way. He was really the kindest man I had ever met in my life, but Nashville was the town we had to separate. We shared our last ice cream and I continued my trip. My new companion was very quiet. Too quiet, I would say. The only thing he told me was, "Okay, you can go with me." He didn't even say what his name was, but people told me he was reliable, and in case of danger, he would do everything to save me. One day, in the middle of nowhere, we were stopped by the police. They asked the driver to show his license and the documents for the cargo. I wondered why the police were working in such a place. I asked what the problem was, and they told us to leave the cabin. The driver and I went out of the cabin. Then the policeman asked to show the cargo to them. We all came up to the container, and the driver seemed to be going to open it, but suddenly he grabbed me and put a knife to my throat. I was horrified. The police realized I was just a fellow traveler, so they could not risk my life. My new bad friend made me run with him through the step. I obeyed because he was threatening to me. He told me that the policemen were actually FBI agents who followed him. They had information that he was carrying tons of drugs in his truck. In the later afternoon, we reached the end of the moor and saw a highway. I realized my companion wanted to get away from the agents and it would be a lot easier for him to do that during the night. However, I hoped that the FBI still followed us and would save me. The man was smart and started to hitchhike. He said that he would kill me and the driver if I said anything. A couple of minutes later, a truck stopped near us, and it was the truck I had already seen. We got into the cabin, and I saw Winnie. He looked at me and gave me a wink. I realized that I had to keep silence. Early in the morning, we arrived to a small town. We stopped at a gas station. Winnie went out to pay for the fuel and asked us if we were hungry. I said I was, so we all moved to the cafe. We sat at the table and ordered food. While we were waiting, I looked around. The people in the cafe looked weird to me, tense, maybe. Suddenly, a man sitting behind me attacked our drug dealer and put handcuffs on him. I couldn't believe I was safe. As it turned out, the people in the cafe were FBI agents undercover. And Winnie helped them. As soon as he knew I was hostage, he offered his assistance to the FBI. He suggested the plan and helped to implement it. Hitchhiking was the best way for the criminal to escape, so the plan worked. I decided to return home. My adventure was amazing, but I couldn't risk my life anymore. I never told my parents about what happened to me. They were shocked about the runaway thing, and the hostage story could make them crazy. And a piece of advice from me: If you have enjoyed the video, please click the like button, leave your comments, and subscribe to our channel.